Hey everybody, I am so excited to be back in the kitchen this week sharing 3 more recipes from my Yiayia'S recipe box with you. 2 of these were recipes that were new to me, and one is a family favorite that I had not had in a long time, but is so good. So I'm so excited to share these recipes with you today. The first recipe is for this overnight salad, and it may not look like much, but this is so delicious. It uses just a few ingredients, and this actually is a recipe that my mom had shared with my Yaya. That was her handwriting on the card there, but we made a little bit of tweaks to it. So you're going to start out with a head of lettuce, and per my mom's instructions, you're just going to tear that into like bite-sized pieces and put it in the bottom of a bowl, and we are going to layer this salad. So next up is going to be the cauliflower, and you're just going to tear off the florets. You don't really want the stalks on this, and you're going to tear it again. You can cut it if you prefer, but she tears hers, so that's what I'm going to do. And you just want this to be in bite-sized pieces, and again, leaving off the stalk part as much as possible. The thinner stalk part's fine, but since we're not cooking the cauliflower, you don't want to have that really thick stalk. So we're going to go ahead and layer that on top of the shredded lettuce. And then the next layer after this is going to be some finely diced red onion. And we're going to use about 3/4 of a red onion, finely diced. Now, you may be thinking this sounds like the craziest concoction, but I'm telling you, it just works. It is absolutely delicious. You have to try this. This is perfect for summertime. If you have a barbecue, get together, it is just the perfect recipe to have. So the next layer is going to be bacon. So her original recipe was using bacon bits, which you can do, but I chose to do fresh bacon. So I went ahead and cooked 1 pound of bacon and crumbled it. So we're going to go ahead and layer that next. And then on top of the bacon, you're going to go in with either Miracle Whip or mayo, depending on what you prefer. We use mayo because the majority of my family prefers mayo to Miracle Whip. So just change that based on your preference. And per her instructions, you're just kind of adding this when I was asking her about it until you cover the top layer. Then you're going to go in, sprinkle some Parmesan cheese, again, just to cover across the top. And then we're going to take some sugar and do the same thing and just spread that out along the top. Then this is going to be covered with plastic wrap and put in the refrigerator overnight. And then the next day, right before you are ready to serve it, you are just going to stir everything together. And I'm telling you, magic happens. You have to make this recipe. It is so delicious. And it's so easy to make. I love it because it's something that you have to prep ahead of time, but which is really nice. So the day of a get together or a barbecue kind of a thing, you have this ready to go. You're just stirring it before you serve it. And I'm telling you, everyone is going to love this recipe. So this next recipe is an impossible broccoli chicken pie, and I was looking for something really simple to make for dinner, and it definitely was very simple to make and put together. So here is the recipe card that I found in her box. I'm just going to start out by grating my cheddar cheese, and here I was showing you I forgot to lock down this grater. So if you have one and you have trouble with it, make sure you're locking it to the counter because it makes it a lot easier to shred because it doesn't move around. But then I'm going to take, I just used an 8x8 inch square pan, and then I used rotisserie chicken instead of the canned chicken. Canned chicken is not my favorite, so you can either use that if you prefer, use rotisserie if you have leftover chicken, whatever you want to do. And then I added the broccoli on top. So the broccoli I did go ahead and cook in the microwave to thaw it, and then I drained it really well. And then you're going to top it with the shredded cheddar cheese. Now, the mixture that we're going to pour over the top is going to be some milk and then eggs, and then you're also going to use some Bisquick. And I did a recipe video a few months back sharing all different recipes with Bisquick, and I was shocked at like all the different things you can do with it. So I was happy to find that this recipe used it as well. And then you're going to season it with some salt and pepper, and then add in a little bit of dried thyme. And then I whisked this well together. Now there were some clumps, so I actually went in with my frother because I was not wanting to get my hand mixer out, which is what the recipe says to use, or to put it in the blender. But I used my frother, and it broke up those clumps of the Bisquick so quickly and easily. So if you're like me and you're just being lazy to get your mixer out and you have a frother, then use it. But once you have that mixed together and all the clumps gone, you're just going to pour that over your layered chicken, broccoli, and cheese, and then you're going to put this in a 400-degree oven for 20 minutes. Now, while that is in the oven, we're going to prepare our topping, which is going to be some more Bisquick, some Parmesan cheese, and then you're supposed to use nuts, chopped nuts, but my husband does not love chopped nuts on something like this, so I did leave that off. I would have loved it. And then you're going to cut in some butter, just a couple tablespoons. I don't have a pastry cutter, so I just use my clean fingers. It's just for my husband and I. And then I almost forgot that you want to add in some garlic powder, so I went ahead and tossed that in at the end here. And then once the casserole has baked in the oven for the 20 minutes, you're going to bring it out and add your topping. Then you're going to put it back in the oven at 400 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes. Mine only took 15 minutes until it was cooked through. And then you want to allow it to cool for about 5 minutes before serving. And then you can see here that it like slices really nicely. And this was a really good new casserole. For the dessert this week, I made this recipe for M&M Crispies. I had never had it. My dad did not remember it, but one of my uncles was over at my parents' house when I served these for a birthday party, and he remembered them and loved them. We all love them. It's a new obsession. These are absolutely amazing. So you're just going to start out with some softened butter and add in some granulated sugar along with brown sugar, and then you just want to mix that until it is nice and fluffy and everything is creamed together really well. And then while that was creaming together, I went ahead and prepared the dry ingredient mixture. So in a separate bowl, I'm going to add in the flour along with some salt and baking soda, and I just use a whisk and whisk this together before adding in the instant oatmeal. I just wanted to make sure that the baking soda was kind of well distributed throughout the flour before adding that in, but you're just going to use like instant or quick cooking oats here. These give the best texture to this cookie. I cannot even describe it. It is so good. It gets a little bit crispy on the bottom, but then it's nice and chewy. They're just absolutely delicious. So I went ahead and added the oatmeal in, gave that another quick stir. And then once my butter and sugar mixture was nicely creamed together, I went ahead and scraped on the bowl and the like mixing spatula. I don't know what that thing's called, the paddle attachment. And then you're going to add in 2 eggs, one at a time, along with some vanilla extract at the end. So all we have left to do is add the dry ingredients in, and I went ahead and just added it 1/2 at a time just so I didn't make a big mess with the flour like coming out of the mixer. So like I said, I just did 1/2. I blended it just until it's combined. You don't want to overwork dough like this, so I let it just combine and then I added in the other half, and same thing, I went ahead and mixed that together until it was just combined. The last step is to add in your M&Ms or chocolate chips if you prefer, and I went ahead and left in this audio clip of my dad and I trying to figure out how many to put in. Well, stop.
Oh yeah, no, you're gonna wow. Yeah, don't finish.
So the reason we were trying to figure this out is the recipe says a large package of M&Ms, and who knows when this recipe was written, and times are different now, but we ended up using the whole bag of these sharing size M&Ms and it was perfect for the recipe. Now when I was mixing these in, I did leave the mixer on a slow speed just because I didn't want to break up the M&Ms. And then here I'm just kind of showing you the consistency of the dough, and now you're just going to ball this out onto your sheet tray. It does not need to be greased, and I made mine larger than what the recipe said, so mine took about 10 to 12 minutes in the oven at 350 degrees, but here you can see them coming out. I'm telling you, you have to try this recipe. They are absolutely amazing. I really hope that you enjoyed seeing these recipes today from my Yiayia'S recipe box. Please make sure that you subscribe before you go if you haven't done so already, and I will see you in the next video.